Hi, this is Tyrone, and welcome to another edition of The Agent. This week's episode is titled The Lord is My Agent, and He Only Takes 10%, a cautionary tale. In February 2003, I made one of the most important decisions of my life. I walked away from the business as a top model agent, so they say. They shocked a lot of people, especially my peers, but not me. It all started in December 2002 when I was in the Dominican Republic for Christmas with a group of friends when I told them I was going to leave the business. They were shocked and kept asking me what I was going to do. I had no idea. All I knew was that I was going to leave. So I decided I was going to stay until June and save as much money as possible. But that first week of January, walking into the agency, I hated it. Not the models, but the familiar that I knew all too well. But I reminded myself that I was only going to be there no later than June. Then that fateful day in February happened. You see, my boss, an eccentric Frenchman, called a staff meeting with all the agents. But during the meeting, he kept scampering around the agency like a squirrel, pointing out issues he was not happy with. I sat silently listening to him make some speech that to this day I can't remember. But then a silent voice inside me said, Tyrone, how long are you going to sit here and let people disrespect you? Or something like that. That was so loud and clear. And in that moment, I decided not to wait, but to resign immediately. That decision turned out to be one of the best life-saving decisions I've ever made in my life. So the next day or so, I went in to let the financial controller know that I was resigning. But before I could say a word, he said, Tyrone, I have the contracts for you to sign for your 10% ownership in the agency. You see, I had a clause in my contract that I would receive 10% after the first year if I was bringing in more than the amount in billings they had requested, which I had far surpassed that first year. You see, we had a lot of top models with contracts from Gucci, Prada, Yves Saint Laurent, etc., which meant money was flowing for the agency. But after 3 years, they still had not fulfilled their part of the agreement, so I stopped bringing it up. But on that fateful morning when I went in to give my notice, they miraculously had the contract prepared for me to sign. This was a shocker as I had not anticipated them doing so and had not told anyone in the agency that I was planning to leave. But they were surprised when I told them I was resigning. A total shock to them. Yes, signing that contract would have meant me making a lot of money, but also being responsible for all that the agency's issues would come. But I also knew what God had shown me to do, and I was not going to be tempted by the lure of money. Yes, I had no idea what I was going to do next, but I also knew it was over. And thank God I turned down the offer and walked away. You see, years later, after leaving the comfort of that agency, my former boss was implicated in one of the most notorious sex scandals to hit the industry and the world, with many well-known people implicated. You see, if I had taken that 10% deal and stayed, I too may have been implicated, because just about everyone who had ownership in it felt the wrath of the government's investigation. In the book of Isaiah, the Lord said, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. The Lord longs to be gracious to you. He rises to show you compassion. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him. Thank God I listened to that soft, still voice. I think of Abraham and how God told him to leave everything behind. And he did, and became the father of many nations. The supermodels, disciples I call them, Simon Peter and his brother Andrew, they too walked away from their lucrative fishing business to follow Christ, and God made them fishers of men. Sometimes we do not know why God has us to walk away from things. But for me, 20 years later, I saw the reasons why and lived now to tell. He knew how my story would end. And he also knew how the story of the agency would come to an end. That's why he had me to get out there as fast as possible to protect me from what was to come. Isn't it interesting, though, that the morning I decided to resign was when they had the contract ready for me to sign, even though no one in the agency knew what I had planned to do. But, you see, enemy also knows exactly how to trap and enslave us by using money, people, and greed, etc. So, on a beautiful, cool, brisk February afternoon, the last day of February, I shook the dust off my feet outside the agency I once made dreams of Vogue come true, grinned like a Cheshire cat, and descended the stairs into the light of the city and onto a flight the next day to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. You too may be in a similar situation, tempted to make a decision that seemed great, yet could be destructive. Please listen to that still, soft voice. It's the voice of the greatest agent ever lived, Christ Almighty, God Himself, speaking and guiding you as He did for me. This is just my cautionary tale. Take it for what it's worth. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Try not to chase everything. And remember, all that glitters, all those Vogue covers, isn't all gold. Until next time, may the peace of Christ and all His wisdom, understanding, and knowledge guide you as He did for me. Until the next time, Shabbat Shalom, and God bless you. Ciao, ciao. Bye.